Hello there, very good evening to you. Welcome to the news on Rupavahini.
I'm Clifford Richards.
And I'm Daphne Charles. Let's begin with a look at tonight's headlines. 9 new deputy ministers have taken oaths. The President has advised the new deputy ministers to carry out their duties with responsibility. A special investigation is being carried out on the chlorine leakage of the Avisavala water purification plant. The British Prime Minister has certified his participation in the Commonwealth Heads of State Summit. Canada's attempt to isolate Sri Lanka has failed. The Libyan Prime Minister, who was taken into the custody of the army, has been released.
We move on to the news in detail now. 9 new deputy ministers took oaths before President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. Parliamentarian Sanat Jayasuriya took oaths as the Deputy Minister of Postal Services. Vasantha Pereira taking oaths as Deputy Minister of Industry and Commerce. YG Padmasiri, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture. Nishantha Muthuhettigama is the new Deputy Minister of Minor Export Crops Development. Sarath Veerasekara took oaths as the Deputy Minister for Labour and Labour Relations. The Deputy Minister for Coconut Development and Estate Development, Victor Anthony Pereira. Hema Gunasekara taking oaths as Deputy Minister for Cooperatives and Internal Trade. Mohanlal Grero became Deputy Minister for Education. Sarath Muthukumara, the Deputy Minister for Rehabilitation and Prison Reforms. The President emphasized that the new deputy ministers should make every effort to fulfill the responsibilities of their posts. The President, while wishing all the deputy ministers that these appointments have been made after discussions and on a sound basis, there were 5 chairmen of district development councils as parliamentarians. They had been elected with the majority in the relevant districts, and it were they who carried out the development activities of the relevant districts. 4 of them have been appointed as deputy ministers, and the 5th member stated that he does not want this post, and the President said that he sincerely thanks him for his gesture. The President emphasized that the new deputy ministers should give disciplined leadership to the party, as it is because of the party that they all have come to this position. The President stressed that the new deputy ministers should not make any damage to the trust kept on the party by the people. Prime Minister D.M. Jayaratne, General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Maithripala Sirisena, and several ministers and parliamentarians, and also Secretary to the President, Lalit Veeratunga, and the family members of the new deputy ministers also attended the function.
Government parliamentarians expressed their stern objection to the statement made by United National Party parliamentarian Mangala Samaravira at the Parliament debate related to the COPE report. The government parliamentarian pointed out that it was a defamation of Parliament, speaking about the clash that took place at Mathura during the COPE report debate. United National Party parliamentarian Mangala Samaravira said that it is a part of a conspiracy that it has been alleged that a group of thugs of Mangala assaulted a peaceful footwalk, and that assault was a clash between 2 groups of the same party. Based on this, 24 of his close political activists have been placed under remand custody. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that there were no Sri Lanka Freedom Party members or any other group in that clash. It was the UNP persons who assaulted the others, and it is the UNP persons who got assaulted. And it is also the UNP persons who are in remand custody and who are in hospitals. UNP parliamentarian Mangala Samaravira said that he identified Herman Gunaratne in the crowd, who is repeatedly claiming that he is an advisor to the President. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that it was reported in the media that the person named Herman Gunaratne is an advisor to the President. The minister said that it is a blatant lie. He said that he is saying it with responsibility, that there is no presidential advisor named Herman Gunaratne. The minister also emphasized that they don't want to protect a person named Herman Gunaratne or anyone else. UNP parliamentarian Mangala Samaravira said that it is under this conspiracy that 24 of his closest political activists have been taken into custody and are being placed under remand custody. Minister Vasudeva Nanayakkara said that he believes that MP Mangala Samaravira has come to Parliament from the battlefront. Therefore, he wanted to tell the story of the battlefront despite what was being discussed in Parliament. To mention here about a personal problem related to him, the minister asked how important it is to the debate relating to the COPE report. He said that MP Mangala Samaravira did not respect the parliamentary traditions and he wasn't even aware of parliamentary traditions. Therefore, the matter being discussed in Parliament or the debate at hand were of little importance to him. The minister said that what he has said reveals his own guilt, similar to many folk stories, including the story related to the Puhulhora Karandane, which means the thief of the ash pumpkin can be identified by his shoulders.
26 victims of the chlorine exposure incident of the Avissarwella water supply project are still receiving treatment at the Avissarwella hospital. Following the incident, around 300 people were hospitalized. When the workers attempted to fix a cylinder at the Frederick water purification plant in Avissarwella, there was a leakage of chlorine gas around 8:30 p.m. yesterday. The officials said the leakage took place when the chlorine gas cylinder was attempted to be fixed to the plant. M.M. Sudhira, a technician of the plant, said that this incident occurred when a new cylinder was to be connected to the plant. It cannot be said whether it is due to a defect in the cylinder that this accident took place. He said that the officer who was working at that time had put the caustic soda cylinder to the tank, and that has resulted in the leakage of chlorine affecting the people. Due to the leakage of chlorine gas, people in the area suffered difficulties in breathing and some even fainted. A patient said that when they were taking their meals, they felt a strong foul smell and they went out of the house, taking the children with them. 274 victims have been taken to hospital and many of them have gone back home. 2 critical patients are receiving treatment in the ICU. The chairman of the Water Supply and Drainage Board, Karunasena Hettiarachchi, said that a special team of officials are carrying out investigations in this connection.
British Prime Minister David Cameron has said that he would certainly participate in the Commonwealth Heads of State Summit to be held in Sri Lanka. The British Prime Minister has emphasised his participation in the weekly debate held in the British Parliament yesterday. A British national was assassinated in Sri Lanka 2 years ago. The British Labour Party Member of Parliament, Simon Dancy, questioned the Prime Minister whether it is suitable to travel to Sri Lanka at a background like this. The British Prime Minister responded to this question.
Ally of the Sri Lankan President. Well, I'm grateful for the honourable gentleman's question. I think it is right for the British Prime Minister to go to the Commonwealth Conference because we're big believers in the Commonwealth and making that organisation work well and indeed work for us. But I think it's right in going to the Commonwealth Conference we should not hold back in being very clear about those aspects of the human rights record in Sri Lanka that we're not happy with. And if he gives me the details of that case, I will make sure that along with other cases and along with other arguments, those points are properly made. Of course, those are points you can't make if you don't go. Mr. Richard Ottaway.
And in related news, the government says that the attempts made by Canada to isolate Sri Lanka in the Commonwealth Summit have been unsuccessful. The Canadian Prime Minister has requested several other countries to boycott the Commonwealth Summit. The Cabinet spokesman, Minister Keni Rabukwela, said that the government of Sri Lanka expresses its regret to Canada in this connection. The minister, in fact, made these comments at the Cabinet Decisions Announcement media conference held in Colombo today. The minister speaking at the media conference said that when the discussions about Commonwealth Heads of State Summit started the political leadership of Canada, the Canadian Prime Minister attempted to canvass several other countries to fall in line with his opinion and to make them boycott the summit. However, he has got isolated in this attempt today. He is isolated today as the leader of another country. The minister said that Sri Lanka sincerely regrets about the plight of Canada. The minister said that the government expects to call the Canadian diplomats for a meeting to get a clear explanation from them. The cabinet has approved the government servants to use telemail service of the postal department to request for leave in an emergency as the telegram service has been abolished. The proposal was made by Cabinet Minister W.D.J. Senviratne. The parliamentary program related to the budget has been accepted by the cabinet. Accordingly, the appropriation bill for the year 2014 will be presented to the parliament on the 22nd of this month, and the budget speech will be delivered on 21st of November, and the debate will take place for a period of 1 week.
Minister Professor G.L. Pires has said that the forthcoming Commonwealth Heads of State Summit will provide the golden opportunity for heads of state of other countries to get first-hand information about this country and see the progress that has been achieved by Sri Lanka within a short period of 4 years. The minister, in an interview with the BBC, has said that Sri Lanka has achieved rapid development in all sectors during this period.
You have this gathering of senior ministers of the Commonwealth coming to your country in November, some of whom have expressed a lot of concern regarding Sri Lankan government's human rights record. What is your view of your country's human rights record today?
My view is that taking into account the complexity of the challenges that the country was faced with at the time the war ended and the tremendous progress that has been made during the last 4 years in almost every sector, we would be very happy for people to come to our country in November and to see for themselves this situation on the ground without being misled by propaganda. This is a wonderful opportunity for them to rely on the evidence of their own eyes, and it is a matter of satisfaction to us that the Commonwealth leaders have made a firm decision to meet in Colombo. It is going ahead. We welcome their opportunity. Transparency, visibility, exposure, that is what we believe in, and that is what the leaders of the Commonwealth will have in Colombo in the middle of November.
Various Pinkham ceremonies were held throughout the country today to commemorate the 13th death anniversary of the world's first Lady Prime Minister, Madam Sirimao Bandaranaike. Madam Bandaranaike became the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka in 1960 and thereby became the first Lady Prime Minister of the world, and after that became the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka on 2 other occasions. Nationalization of fee-levying schools and nationalization of oil and insurance sectors were among the revolutionary steps taken by her during her first term of office. She was a pioneer of the non-aligned movement and became the chairperson of the organization in 1976. Introduction of a new constitution to the country, solving of the Indian estate people's problems, acquiring the Kachativu to Sri Lanka are some of the other significant services rendered by her to the country. She introduced an agricultural policy and land reformation and made great attempts to make Sri Lanka self-sufficient in food during the 70 to 77 period. By establishing more than 50 state corporations, she rendered a commendable service for the strengthening of the public sector. The decision was taken by her to introduce Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa as a candidate for the Beliata electorate in the 1970 general election. She has done a great service for the welfare of this country. This decision initiated a comprehensive social revolution in the country. She was a successful person in taking the people's friendly revolutionary policies of the late Prime Minister S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike to pass on the privileges enjoyed by the upper class to the ordinary people for another period of nearly 50 years. This objective prevails even today without any dilution. On 10th of October 2000, Madam Bandaranaike passed away while returning after casting her vote in the general election held on that day.
ජනාධිපති මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාද ඊට සහභාගී විය.
A Sangakata Dakshina was held this morning at the Hunupitiya Gangarama Vihara in Colombo to invoke blessings on her. President Mahinda Rajapaksa also attended this pincomer. Members of the Mahasangha, including the Mahanayaka of the Sri Lanka Amarapura Mahanikaya, the most venerable Dawud and Nyanishsara Thero, attended the pincomer. The members of the Mahasangha said that many people have forgotten to commemorate the late Mrs. Bandaranaike, who created a common man's era in this country. However, they said that President Mahinda Rajapaksa never forgot to commemorate her death and pay due respects.
The 64th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Army was celebrated with dignity today. The main function was held at the CR&FC grounds in Colombo. The Sri Lanka Army was established on the 10th of October 1949 under the name Ceylon Army. It was established as the permanent army of this country under the Army Act No. 17 of 1949. After Sri Lanka became a republic in the year 1972, the army was named the Sri Lanka Army. Currently, it has 25 regiments. It was a historical service rendered by the Sri Lanka Army to eradicate tiger terrorism from the soil of this country under the guidance of President Mahinda Rajapaksa and Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Sri Lanka Army has rendered special national services to safeguard the territorial integrity of this country at all decisive moments. Army Commander Lieutenant General Daya Ratnayaka, addressing the 64th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Army, said that the army is prepared to steer the development process of the country. Lieutenant General Daya Ratnayaka is the 20th Army Commander of this country. Plans have been made to conduct 2 weeks assistance programs, religious functions and invoke Seth Pirit to Army flags.
Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation has been rewarded with the presentation of the Tiswasaraka Rupavahini Panhila for the producing of the highest number of Rupavahini dramas and programs based on Somavira Senanayaka's scripts. The rewarding ceremony was held at the Mahaveli Centre this evening. The teledrama culture of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation has completed 3 decades. Along with this, the artistic life of Somavira Senanayaka as a script writer has also completed 30 years. In this connection, the book titled Tirarachanayan Liyamu was also released. The function was organized by the Sahurda Sanghinda Kala Vimansa Ekamutua. The artists who produced and directed teledramas and programs based on Somavira Senanayaka's scripts were also rewarded. The Rupavahini Corporation, which produced 7 teledramas including Palingumanike, 90 solo dramas, was also rewarded with special commendation. Minister T.B. Ekanayaka, Chairman of the Tower Hall Foundation, Douglas Sirivardhana, and the Vice Chancellor of the Ruhuna University, Gamini Senanayaka, and several other artists attended the function.
අමාත්‍ය ටීබී ඒකනායක ටවර් හෝල් පදනමේ සභාපති ඩග්ලස් සිරිවර්ධන සහෘද සංහිත කලා විමර්ශන සායකමුතුවේ සභාපති සුදක් රෝහණ සහ රුහුණ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ උපකුලපති ගාමිණී සේනා.
Well, several state institutions have joined the Dengue Control Week activities to make it a success. Priority in this connection has been given for cleaning of towns and educating of people. The cleaning of the town of Godakavela and educating of the people were carried out yesterday. The Godakavela Health Services Office, the Pradeshya Sabha, police and state banks participated in this program. There was also a walk by the students. This program was carried out today as well.
The Met Department informed that the storm that developed in the Bay of Bengal has strengthened as a typhoon and is moving towards India about 1,300 kilometers northeast of Jaffna. There will be no direct impact to Sri Lanka from this typhoon. Intermittent rains or thunder showers could be experienced tomorrow in the western, northwestern, north, central, Sabaragamuwa and southern provinces. There could be about 100 millimeters of rains in some areas. Rain or thunder showers could also occur in certain places of other areas in the evenings or at night. Heavy winds could be experienced in the western slopes of the central hills and in the shore areas.
Well, today is International Vision Day. This day is commemorated each year on the 10th of October. The theme of the commemoration this year is Check Your Eyes. There are 9 million people throughout the world impaired with vision. There are many eye defects such as cataract, glaucoma and defects occurring from diabetes. Many people become impaired with vision due to ignorance and negligence. By early identification, the problem and getting proper treatment could avoid eye defects. In line with the Vision 2020 international programs, many arrangements have been made in Sri Lanka too to arrest the cataract problem and provide lenses and provide spectacles. About 450,000 students in Sri Lanka are suffering from various eye defects. Another 150,000 have become completely blind. Meanwhile, the first eye research unit of Sri Lanka was declared open at the National Hospital in Colombo today. The unit is named as Wet Lab and it has been planned to provide eye operations and also training at this unit by using animal lenses for the people. The unit was declared open by Director General of the Health Services, Dr. Palitha Mahipala. Libyan Prime Minister Ali Zaidan, who was earlier seized by a rebel faction in retaliation for his supposed cooperation with U.S. anti-terror raid, has now been released according to a state-run news agency. The statement was very brief and contained no details of the release, but the AP believes that the government forces may have intervened, as it appeared that Zaidan's abductors were not willing to let him go. He was abducted from a Tripoli hotel, held for several hours by armed men whose identity has not yet been confirmed. The group has promised that it will pursue all other people it sees as having anything to do with the recent raid by U.S. forces in collaboration with the Libyan government. The rebels say they seized Zaidan in retaliation for his government's role in assisting the U.S. in the recent capture of the suspected top Al-Qaeda leader. Less than a week ago, the suspect was seized by U.S. forces in a raid in Tripoli. The incident has angered many Islamist groups in the country, including the one that is thought to have been involved in the 2012 attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi. And before we leave you, a look at the top stories again. 9 new deputy ministers have been sworn in. The President advised the new deputy ministers to properly carry out their responsibilities. A special investigation is being carried out to the chlorine leakage of the Avissarella water purification plant. The British Prime Minister has confirmed his participation in the Commonwealth Heads of State Summit. Canada's attempt to isolate Sri Lanka has failed, and the Libyan Prime Minister taken into custody of the army has been released. Well, that's all the news we have for you this evening. Do enjoy the rest of the programs. Take care and good night.
Good night.